Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something you probably interact with every single day, but never actually see. We're talking about distributed control systems, the invisible brains running our biggest and most important industries.
I mean, really think about it for a second. How in the world do you control something as massive and complex as a power plant? You've got literally thousands of moving parts, temperatures, pressures, flows, all happening at once. How do you manage all of that safely?
You're looking at the nerve center right here. This is a control room where human operators have to manage this vast, intricate process. Talk about a high-stakes environment. One wrong click can be catastrophic. And the solution to managing this controlled chaos is the technology we're digging into today.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll start with what a DCS actually is. Then we'll map out its architecture, break down the different layers, and finally, see where these incredible systems are making a difference out in the real world.
So let's get right to it. What exactly is this powerful system? Let's nail down a proper definition.
Okay, that definition sounds a little formal, doesn't it? But the core idea is actually really simple. Instead of having one giant supercomputer trying to do everything, a DCS, well, it distributes the work. It spreads the control tasks across many smaller controllers. But, and this is the important part, everything is still watched over from one central location.
And yeah, the name really says it all. Distributed, decentralized. It's not one single brain trying to do everything at once. It's a whole network of smaller, specialized brains all working together. And that makes the whole system way more robust. Think about it. If one little controller has a problem, the entire plant doesn't just grind to a halt.
So to really get how this all fits together, we kind of need a map. Let's take a look at the system's architecture. And here it is. Now, I know it looks a little complicated, but don't worry. We're going to walk through it layer by layer. We'll start at the very top, where the people are, and work our way all the way down to the machines out in the field.
Let's start up at the top then, with the control layer. You can really think of this as the ultimate partnership between the human operators and the entire process they're managing.
This is that first point of contact, the operator stations. These are the screens and keyboards that give operators a window into the whole process. It's how they see what's happening, take control when needed, and react instantly to any warnings or alarms.
Now, behind those screens is where the real computational heavy lifting happens. This next level down has powerful servers, data archives, and the super important engineering station. It's kind of like the back office for the whole operation.
So what is all this stuff actually doing? Well, you've got servers that act like air traffic control for all the data. Then there's the archive, or historian, which is like the system's memory, storing tons of historical data for analysis. And finally, the engineering station is the workshop. It's where engineers design, configure, and build the entire system.
All right, so we've seen the control room. Now, let's head down the network to the field layer. This is where the rubber meets the road, where digital commands from the control room meet the physical world of pipes, valves, and motors.
And these are the DCS controllers. These are those distributed, local brains we were talking about. Each one is a rugged little computer that sits out in the plant, running its own specific part of the process and constantly feeding data back up to the control room. But wait a second, how does a digital computer talk to a physical valve? It needs a translator, right? Well, in a DCS, that translator is the I/O module, which just stands for input/output. And the process is pretty clever. A device out in the field, like a temperature sensor, sends a physical electrical signal. The I/O module catches that signal and converts it into ones and zeros, a digital language the controller's brain can understand. And of course, it does the exact same thing in reverse for sending commands out. This brings us to the very edge of the system, the field devices. If the DCS is the brain, then these are its eyes, ears, and hands. They are the sensors measuring the process and the actuators, the valves and motors that physically change it.
Now, these devices send two main kinds of signals. You have analog inputs, which measure a continuous range, like temperature from 0 to 100 degrees. Then you have digital inputs, which are much simpler. They're either on or off, open or closed. The DCS has to understand both perfectly.
Okay, so we've taken the whole system apart, piece by piece. Now let's put it all back together and see where this incredible technology is powering our world.
And the short answer is you find them at the heart of our most critical industries. A DCS is the go-to solution for any process that is just massive, really complex, and absolutely cannot be allowed to fail.
We're talking about sprawling oil refineries, huge chemical plants, and the very power stations that keep our modern world running.
Now, if you're familiar with automation, you might be asking a really good question. Hey, isn't this just a big, fancy PLC? Well, not quite.
Let's break it down. Here's a good way to think about it. A PLC is like a sprinter. It's built for controlling a single machine with incredibly fast, repetitive tasks. A DCS, on the other hand, is a marathon runner. It's focused on overseeing the entire complex process, plant-wide. And because that job is so critical, a DCS is almost always built with full redundancy, a complete backup system ready to take over instantly. That's a level of reliability you don't always find with a single PLC.
So, to wrap it all up, if a single machine is like a muscle, the DCS is the central nervous system that connects and coordinates everything for the entire body of the plant. It provides that high-level, ultra-reliable control that our most essential industries depend on.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Today, we use this tech for power plants and refineries. But as our world gets more complex and interconnected, what's the next frontier? A smart city's entire water grid? A global logistics network? What's the next massive process that's going to need a brain like a DCS?